Hello, everyone. Forgot we were on a black screen for so long. I don't know how long. I think it was only a couple of seconds, but we were talking about.
For producers, it feels like forever.
Yeah, we were talking about the whole VODs situation on Twitch, which is a great opening subject for us to talk about. Welcome to Non-Effort, everyone. We have this show on a Friday. I'm just saying, discombobulating me so badly.
I'm sorry.
We're just having a normal conversation, you know, and it's because the intro is so short for this as well. Like a lot of my intros are like 30 seconds to a minute. No, this is 6 seconds long.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I just click it and I'm like, oh, we're live. So I always forget because I'm so not used to it. Welcome to Non-Effort, everyone. This is our sort of podcast, casual chat Friday money raiser, fundraiser show that we're going to be doing for the next 1 week, this week and next week. And in 2 weeks we will be we'll be switching this out for a new Friday show, which is called Don't Die.
Hit it.
She forgot the name of her own show. Just needed a minute.
She was just
brain to boot up.
Yeah, completely.
Letting my brain boot up.
Non-die. We did almost call everything non-something.
Non-something,
and we sort of thought that Don't Die
it was a non-starter.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It was for Meyer.
So the way that this works is that there are a bunch of subjects on this side of the screen, which as we unlock them, we'll get to them and talk about them. They are subjects that are questions that have been submitted by the chat on our Discord.
I'm sorry, could you read these out for my grandma eyes?
The subjects?
Yes, please.
The first one is creating homebrew campaign settings. The second one is first campaigns. The third one is how to craft a villain and more. The fourth one is campaigns that got away. The fifth one is surviving in another world. And the sixth one is PB's ear story.
We can skip that one.
Which I'm desperate to unlock one day. And it's going to be, you're going to have to like really embellish this story. Because by the time we get to it,
the worst part is I don't need to do that.
Okay.
I don't need to do that.
Okay, horrific.
It's horrific as it is.
Yeah.
All right. It needs no embellishment.
So sorry, my throat.
Band-aid on his ear for like 4 months. Sorry. For the rest of the school year.
I keep coughing and clearing my
peanut
throat.
butter bread. Go do it.
So sorry.
Go do it.
I remembered in this.
Right now.
I
He's
remembered
yelling at you.
in this moment. I actually don't have peanut butter because I used it on the Tuesday's peanut butter cookies that she told me to make. And I actually don't have any. But I do have antacid. I'll take some antacid.
She wrenched a man's head off. I love how it's escalating.
This is what I mean. It has to be at like that kind of level, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
April,
how
if
about
you're
you
here,
tell
we're going to
it?
need your...
How about you tell it, Brad?
We'll me and Wack will both tell a PB's ear story.
What we need is April Rain's child, who did that ridiculously awesome Title Blades animation. We're going to need you to animate what you imagine PB's ear story to be.
Yeah. Or just wait till it gets told and then animate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were just talking about the different ways that we have to approach the horrible Twitch VOD situation. So Twitch have decided to just basically remove collections and highlights from the website. I assume in a desperate bid to save a few dollars on storage space and stuff, which kind of messes this channel up real bad because this is a channel where the VODs and the collections and the playlists and the live shows are great, but I think a huge amount of people will come through and watch the VOD. Now obviously the VODs will always be available on YouTube and on like Spotify and Apple and all the varying other places that you might be able to listen to them, but one thing that we will lose is the chat experience being saved alongside the VOD, so you could go back and watch it and see how chat reacts to like certain moments and things, which I think is a shame. And we were just talking then, I mean the reason that, Because also from a production standpoint, it's a bit of an annoying thing for us because if we can't sort of save and highlight videos, which we're not going to be able to do until we sort this out, we have to figure out some other annoying way to deal with it. I don't know what you did last. What did you do last night, Whack? Because I'm just locally recording.
I just recorded
it.
I just locally recorded it, and then I just uploaded that to YouTube.
Super annoying.
The timing is a little awkward, really. Like Meyer was saying, you can set up a record button on your Stream Deck.
Yeah.
So I'll probably set that up. Because
what do you mean the timing is awkward?
Well, because you need to do, like, we have the starting soon screen or whatever coming up for a show. I want to time it right so we don't have any breaks. You know, when we upload it, I want it to be like we did put it in the editor and we removed the beginning and, you know, if there was a little bit at the end.
Right.
So we're going to start record right when we start and end the recording right where we end.
Right, yeah. I need to remember to end recording as well.
Yep.
Doing this.
Yeah, that's not happening for mine, guys. It's just gonna be the old school style, right? And then you'll have a timestamp where this is when the break or when the intro is over.
I'm always impressed that you're even on screen.
Live?
Yeah.
Oh.
Live. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
It's not a compliment. You're a disaster of a human being.
Well, thank you.
What I don't understand about you, Pumpkinberry, with these shows.
Oh no! Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
You're obviously phenomenal at what you do.
Ew!
Don't worry, I'm about to bring you back down.
Yeah.
Do not float away.
Roller coaster.
But the way that you have such tech issues is crazy to me.
Perfect.
The sound, the audio issues, the madness. You'll just randomly the screen will change. You'll be on the screen and then you'll move and you'll just be completely misaligned with everyone else because you decided halfway through the show that you wanted to, I don't know, add a guest or something. You'll do mad stuff like that.
Yeah, I will do mad shit live, but that's okay. You know, it's fun. It's exciting.
You go live on your channel for 5 minutes and then go live on Tablestory because you didn't change the
No, I
stream
don't
key
have
or
that
whatever.
problem anymore.
It's true. I haven't seen you do it in a while. You know who did do it last? Whack.
I did.
You know who never does it?
Brad.
This guy.
It's because you use 2 instances of OBS.
Yeah.
You use OBS and then you got slobs or whatever.
I actually have 3 instances of OBS because I have one for my other second channel. I have like this weird clone.
You fucking did one for your second channel too?
Mm-hmm.
You're insane.
It's a clone of OBS
Tell me
Studio.
how to do that.
I don't remember how to do it. Someone from my chat was like, this is how you do it. On that day, I did it and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Thank you so much. I will remember how to do this forever. And then forgot immediately.
And then forgot immediately. Yeah, because I would love to do that. Because I don't want to use slobs. But I would
incredibly
clone
useful.
OBS for sure. Yeah.
It is that. It's portable installs of OBS. That is what it is. Write that down.
Okay.
Google it.
Okay.
Yeah, and you as well, Wank. Clearly you need to do it.
Oh, God.
Oh, thanks, Wizard.
I had a flub yesterday on main character. Brad's never going to let me forget it, ever.
What happened?
I did the tokens for some enemies that they fought, and I did a bunch of updates on Foundry, and I think it rolled it back just slightly. So I lost the tokens that I set up. So live, they were just like the generic default tokens, and the portraits were changed, but the generic default tokens were not. So I was like, oh shit. And I threw them into the fight and didn't realize until we'd started. So I had to try and fix it on the fly, and I put
You'd get away with it with any other show, but not main
Yep.
character because
Yep.
of the unique battle style.
And to be fair, it's probably the show that I have to do. It's up there for, like, in terms of how much prep work I've had to do. It's got to be the top 3. Got to be. Maybe even the top 2 in terms of prep. So it hurts extra bad when I make a mistake.
I knew how bad it was because I love watching my fellow DMs' faces when you can tell there's a tech issue.
Yep.
Like not a bad one, but like a little blip like that when you see that, like, oh god damn it, I have to somehow make this entire encounter again. Like, oh, are you kidding? How am I meant to do this from scratch again? This took me an hour and a half offline. Like, what the hell am I gonna do? And then you're just sitting there, pretend like. So you guys go to the. I'm sorry. Did you say you go left or you go right? And they're like, we just said it like 3 times. We go left, and you're like, okay. What was the and what was the reason you decided to choose
Why
to go
are you feeling
left? And
way
how
that-
do you each of you feel about that? And then you're like, but then it like cuts to just like, you know, like panic music in your head, and you just like like making
like quick.
You know,
My favorite
when you
is
play
like
Tetris, when you play Tetris and you get to like the higher levels, and the music just fucking go crazy. That's what's happening.
That is what's happening.
Yeah.
Sorry, PB.
No. My favorite is when you're like, hey guys, stall for a second. Like I need to grab a thing, and then you're going to do the thing, and then they do something fucking crazy, and they're like, narrator, I need this thing, and you're like, I'm doing something. I'm going to kill you right now in this
play
moment.
amongst yourselves.
Children play together for 2 minutes while I try to fix this tech issue.
Normally, when a tech issue happens, I can handle it like okay. But because of all the shows that I've been doing, my brain it's really taken me a long time to recover this time. Like all week, I've been so brain dead. I think the combination of 3 shows and then 2 finales is what has really knocked me out. So yesterday, I slept like okay for main character, like nothing great, but I was like okay. I felt like I was okay enough sleep-wise that I can handle stuff. I was not. I was not. I was still exhausted when we started the show. And I felt it maybe an hour beforehand. And I was like, oh, shit. How am I going to do this? And I'm like, I gave him a heads up. I'm like, guys, you might have to like go hard today because I'm just, it's going to be rough. You know, like I'm just barely holding it together.
It's the worst position to be.
Yeah.
The like... actual like when we say tech issues, if it's just like game tech issues is one thing.
No
actual tech issues can ruin my entire evening.
Yep.
Like the stream doesn't work, or like there's an
like
ingest
Leah.
problem.
Do you remember that?
Or Leah's in the show, yeah.
Bro,
anything along those lines.
The way I leapt up from the couch watching and ran over and was like, "Oh my god, I'm here!"
It was such a weird fix as well. Like the most insane specific problem to have, and it was on like an episode. It's always on the episode where that's the only character that matters, and you're like, "All right, this episode is all about Leah's character," and you go, "Okay, the others will be foil." The moment Leah is on screen,
and what do you do? And then it fucks
camera
up.
freezes, everything's broken. I don't know if the thing is updating, by the way. I don't know.
I think
how
it
to
is.
fix it. Oh, it is?
Oh my
I think
god.
it is, yeah.
I am
Sorry, I had to inhale that cookie. I was watching some role play, and it was very tense. And so immediately afterwards I was like, I have to emotionally eat sugar. So that's why I ate that cookie. What?
I just wish sometimes that I could feel 1/10 of the emotion that you feel watching anything. Like 1/10.
It was crazy, dude. It was very cool. It was very cool. But yes, I needed a comfort cookie. And then of course.
So these are the cookies that you made?
Stalled.
There it was. There was the tech issue. That's exactly the thing.
Yep.
Thank you for the tip. I think that was $100 tip, by the way, coming in, whoever that was.
Yeah.
Thank you
Jesus
very much.
Christ.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, to open
Thank
us
you
up.
very much.
120.
With each tip, we'll change the topic, or at least we'll have topics that we'll talk about. Again, each of these topics were submitted on our Discord. You can submit questions for next week, the last one of these for a little while, and then this will come back. Non-effort is sort of going to sit in between shows that we're going to make, each of us in this sort of style of non-canon, in that one of us will be running the show. I think when and if we get to one of these today, we should talk about something to do with Don't Die.
Okay.
But which one of these? Do you want to roll a d6?
Yes, I will do it. I will do it. But I had a question.
You'll have to submit it on the Discord, Twitch, tablestory.tv/Discord. And yeah, topics rather than questions would be better. So you know what? I'll allow it. Go on then. What's your question?
5.
All right. If we hit the fifth
Didn't
goal
sound
here,
like a question. I think you got
surviving in another world and don't die deets.
I was just wondering, what is the most memorable tech issue that you've had where afterwards you were like, fuck yeah, I can't believe I solved that while I was live?
So I don't know if it counts as a tech issue.
Yeah.
I have one that immediately jumped in my head. The most. So, okay. I had a player on a show have to drop out while I was playing the intro for a show.
Yep. Oh, wow. Wow.
For that episode.
Fuck.
Yep.
I literally had 1 minute.
Yep.
And I was like, what am I going to do?
God, dude.
Yeah, 1 minute before we went live, they were just like, I can't do. I'm so sorry. I'm really sick. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And I had to. This was back in the Zoom days. I had to grab my laptop, connect to Zoom, and fill up the spot. And I was somehow able to remain calm throughout the process. And I just did it, and I just somehow put it together. And I managed to cover. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. But yeah, that was probably the biggest panic that I've had, where a show still went on, and I just had an issue come up. In terms of actual tech issue, nothing's really jumping into my mind.
I think that counts. Because it's like a production thing that comes up, you know?
Just a nuke to production.
Yeah.
Of some kind. It's the worst feeling, and that's why I can't remember a single one of them, I think.
Just block them out.
I can't store those kinds of memories anymore.
Most of them
safe. Good. Wise.
Honestly, I feel like most of the tech issue stuff is like people having internet problems.
Yeah.
Do you remember Darkfire when I had to connect via the fucking tablet?
Yeah, I do remember that.
It was like episode 2 or 3, bro. Like it was early
I wouldn't
on.
even allow that now. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
I'd be like, you're just not in tonight's episode.
Out. Yeah.
I'm not dealing with the worst audio. I mean, to be fair, Wack is having internet issues today.
Yeah.
Are you really?
Haven't you noticed? Every now and then he's blipping just a little.
He's not blipping to me.
He is. This motherfucker's blipping. It's winding me up every time he does it. Causing me to have tech issues.
I just want to talk for the rest of this.
No, I'm kidding. It's really imperceptible. I'll tell you if it gets bad.
He just freezes the cam and then leaves. And it's like, I'm just going to enjoy the rest of my day.
Yeah. I feel like those little tech issues like that they're all kind of the same. It's just the worst thing for like a minute. But it is the worst when it is. If it's within the 15 minutes before a show window.
Yep. That will, that always fucks me up.
Whether it's a tech issue or like a player has to drop out or something goes wrong, whatever it is. Could be me. Some of my shit I've fucked up the battle map. Oh God, that stress to get things going and get the show running. And then like stuff will happen like where you're like 30 minutes late to starting the show. And you're like, should we just call the whole thing off? And you look at your players and they're in full makeup. Yeah. And you're like, God.
Oh,
I've had to do it.
Yeah.
I've had to do
it's the worst feeling. Because they've sat there for an hour before the show, putting on their makeup and like, making themselves look good. And then you're like, it was a waste of your time. See ya.
Yeah. I think those are usually the worst. Is just like the pre-show stuff when we are literally we started the show and some kind of bullshit's happening, like audio issues, internet issues. I mean, internet, there's like nothing you can do about it, right? Like if somebody power goes out, internet goes out, you can't do shit. Really can't. Until we get like 6G. I mean, we're not gonna be able to do much. I think that's the worst usually. It's just everybody's
I
ready
can
to
think
go.
of something a little bit better than that one, or worse,
All right.
rather. Getting hit by a car. That's probably my top tech issue on
was
a
pretty
day of a
good.
show.
That was a
It was
good
pretty
one.
good. But
I had to convince you not to do it.
yeah, no, I'm not kidding. He's not joking, you guys. He literally had to be like, and it was the most gentle message. It was like, PB, you're not doing this today. You're not running a show.
I guarantee
on
I
the
still
same
have it
day
in my phone.
You got hit by a fucking car. And I was like, no, man, I'm good. And he's like, no. And I went, okay. And then 2 hours later, when the show would have been going on, my body is racked with the fucking pain and the adrenaline. And I'm laying on the couch, unable to move. And I think I just sent him a message of like, good call, man. I can't move.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah.
Surprise, you can't move.
Surprise. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good shit.
Yeah, I think to be honest,
Jesus fucking Christ. You got hit by a car? You need to cancel today and just relax, please. It doesn't matter if it was minor. It wasn't gentle. You processed it as gentle because you knew where my intentions were.
Oh, fuck.
screaming
So
at you.
gentle. Yeah.
Jesus
screaming at
Christ.
me. Sit the fuck down.
I love you, and I'm glad you're getting checked out, but please take the day off at least.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that's why I interpreted it as gentle, because you used the L word. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, you know what I normally do that I completely forgot? Take some questions from the chat room. Give me some questions, chat, some topics.
Yeah, do that.
And I'll throw them into a poll, and we can pick one to talk about. I don't know where or when, but we're...
Oh, the backwards mic.
Backwards mic. My number one would be
Good call, Piranha.
My number one would be backwards mic, probably. I don't know if you guys remember.
Can you please tell the story? Cue the ungodly music. Tell the story.
Hold on. I don't know if I have the ungodly music anymore, by the way. I need you to send it to me again. I don't know how I lost it, but I needed it for some secret bullshit that we were doing, I think during non-canon, and then I didn't have it, and I was like, shit, and I couldn't ask you for it.
Oh, because it would give
it away. You know what it was? It was when Ven and Fist were on.
Yep.
And I was going to trick you, and I was like, shit. And I don't think I had the ungodly theme for that to really, because I was just trying to, mess with your head. Right, go on
talk
then.
about the broken mic.
Tell us about the broken mic.
Yep.
The broken mic story. So, Brad got his Go XLR, and this would have been ZBO times, right around there.
Is that when we got the Go XLRs? Was ZBO? Yeah.
ZBO.
Okay.
Right before ZBO.
Mm-hmm.
So I set mine up, and I figured it out pretty quickly. And Brad was like, all right, I'm going to need help. How the fuck do you do this? What are all of these buttons? What do I do? And I was just like, all right, let's just hop on a call and I'll help you. But if I'm on a call, how am I going to set it up? Well, you can talk to me through your phone or whatever. I don't remember how we did it. He's like, no, I think I've got it. And he set it up. He did like a quick setup or something. And we could not figure out why he sounded like shit. We were there for 2 hours, me and Jay. 2 hours. Trying to walk Brad through every little step. All right. Yeah, I've got that set up. All right, let's try and mess with your gain, Brad. Maybe it's the gain. It's really like not a hard setup. Like you don't have to do very much. You just got to plug a few wires in and it's kind of good to go. So we begin to go through step by step on the Go XLR. Set up the mic gain. We go through everything. And I'm like, dude, you might need like an amplifier or something with your mic. What kind of mic do you have? I've got a really expensive mic. It's the one, I got from my previous job. All right. Go through, look up the specs for the mic. All right. Well, yeah, we look like we gotta use the built-in amplifier in the Go XLR. Turn this on. It's dynamic. Is it what was the other one? Cardioid
Yep.
or something like that. Yeah,
Yep.
so we're trying both of those. How's this? Is this better? Can you hear me now?
Clem Fandango.
And I'm like, no, dude, you still sound off. It still sounds like you're far away. And he's like, I don't know what's going on. Wait a minute. Turns the mic. He's got it's essentially like the mic is like this. Okay, so this is how we're hearing him. Like this. The whole time. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
The microphone.
This is like one of my
was
favorite things.
backwards.
No. One of my favorite things that Brad will do is like when there's something going on like that and he figures it out, he's like, wait, I got it. He's always like, I fucking figured it out. And then it's fucking.
Turns out there's a logo. Yeah.
There's a logo on the
There's a
microphone.
logo on
There's
the
a logo on it.
front.
Well, how was I supposed to know there was a logo on the front? It was backwards.
You use your eyes, Brad!
My eyes can't see behind it. It's not how light works unless I have a mirror. Okay? How am I supposed to see around the behind of things? Madness.
Fucking 2.5 hours. Jay and I are on this phone call trying to help him get this mic working. We're like, dude, I think the mic is dead. You know, like either that or you need an amplifier or something. Wait a minute. The microphone was backwards. I don't know if I've ever been madder at you.
Yeah, you were pretty upset.
You learned a lesson
also-
that day.
Pretty sure it was more than 2 hours. I think my clip says you were helping him for 4 hours.
Oh God, it was a long time.
It's a hard lesson to learn, but everyone has to learn it with me at some
Yep.
point.
The best.
So
Best.
if anybody ever needs to give tech support to anyone, go through the most simple things you can imagine first. And if you get angry with the tech support people,
Drink of water.
understand why they do this.
Because your mic's backward. Oh, it's so good.
If you enjoyed that story, please toss a coin at our tip jar. Because this is how we change subjects. And if we could get off of this subject, that would be great.
That night. I just imagine Brad laying in bed that night staring at the ceiling.
We got a couple of questions submitted, and the first one is about creating homebrew campaign settings and something
that
along
Winnie the Pooh, music on loop.
Yeah, burner. Just laying there, and he's hearing like your voice helping him. What are you doing this and doing that? He's like, the fucking mic was backwards.
Have you ever wondered
time.
how long it takes each of us to create a world for one of our homebrew campaigns to the point where we feel comfortable playing in it? Well, you can find out just by throwing a few coins into our tip jar. That'd be great. Thank you so much. Wow, thank you, Aqua Snakes and Super Mega Punch and Anonymous for
Thank you.
for the coins so far. Look, I've never claimed to be good at anything, to be fair. But I'm not good at hardware stuff, and I am particularly bad at audio hardware things. I'm really bad at a lot of audio software stuff. I'm good at like making things sound nice in terms of like audio treatment. I'm not brilliant at that either, but I'm better at that than I am at like audio software. And my God, am I so bad at audio hardware. It's crazy. I had a job where I worked for a short while. I worked for Google. And I, as a sort of a technician, a lighting tech and a studio tech, and sometimes they would just hand me random wires and be like, hey, can you plug that in? That's for the, I don't know what you even just said. And I'd just go and plug it into something and walk away and just be like, I did it because I didn't want to lose my job. And I don't know how to do anything when it comes to audio very well at all. So I'm not surprised, if I'm honest. Debiro's saving me out. Let's answer a question and change the topic to a topic that was submitted by Debiru20x. The question is a general GM question. Thank you for giving us the. What would that be? That's a
disclaimer, preamble.
No, you know when you go on like Jeopardy, and you get a.
No, I've never been on Jeopardy.
All right. On a very,
He's just rubbing salt in the wound whenever possible.
I'm just being a
the power of friendship
today. I'm sorry. Can kill me.
On a very rough average, as I know this has many varying degrees and factors, roughly how long do you estimate it takes for you to create a world for one of your homebrew campaigns to where you feel comfortable playing in it? PB has a show coming up in 2 weeks. How long has it taken you to make the world for that?
I don't think you want me to answer that.
Don't I? I sort of do because it's hilarious. But I don't know. You can make the executive decision. You could pivot to another show.
Okay.
What we could do is we could circle back to this if we get to the 5th question.
Yes.
I tell you what, if we get to don't die deets, guys, on that scale there, we will come back and we will have PB answer the question truthfully. That's what we're agreeing on, right, PB?
Yes. Because
this is
otherwise
insane sounding now. PB will truthfully answer how long it took for her to create the world for Don't Die. The answer might surprise you.
Yeah, it's definitely going to surprise you.
Yeah, let's go to go to a different.
Well, we can answer that question in general, though, right? Like how long?
Yeah,
what was the question? Yeah. How long does it take us to?
So the question is,
a world?
Yeah, how long roughly do you estimate it takes for you to create a world for one of your homebrew campaigns to where you feel comfortable in playing in it? I think is also a really key point to that.
Yeah.
Because I've got to the point, I've created worlds where I'm not comfortable, and I've just gone, well, we're in. Here we go.
Yep.
That's the question. Would you answer?
Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
I thought PB was going to start. I thought she had an answer, but you were just reaffirming the question. Okay. Whack. You're up.
Okay, I will go first.
I don't know what's happening. My voice is running out as well. I don't know why I'm losing my voice for some reason. So I've only got an hour max.
To live.
Okay, so obviously it depends with homebrew campaigns. I think the more you do them, the better you get at them. So it depends on the scope of the campaign that you're trying to run. If you've ever watched any of the old videos that we did of Ready to Roll, which is kind of partly inspiration for this show, we've talked about this kind of thing a little bit. I think it really depends on what you're setting out to do with your campaign. If you are trying to create an entire world and an entire setting, that is very detailed. That is an extreme amount of work. There's a very big difference between creating something like that and creating something that you just need for a show. A lot of things you can leave vague for a show. Some things you have to go in depth on, like the topics and things that you want to talk about on the show. I know Brad really likes working on like pantheons and stuff like that when he does homebrew campaigns.
Yeah, speaking of which, I really gotta get on that.
So Brad will go really ham on like the pantheons. For me, it's really important that I know what the people and the settings are like for my campaign. So I work really hard on that for like main character. That was the thing that I've spent the most time on, is like, I need to know what all of these places are like, and then I can improv whatever I need. You know, and then there's a big difference if you're trying to sell a book. You know, if we're creating a setting and we want to sell that thing, we have to get really detailed. That's a whole nother level. That is a big step up. So if you are creating a setting and you want to make a book, we have to figure everything out. So that is by far the most amount of work, and that takes months and months and months.
If not
for
years.
Yeah, for main character, I thought about the premise for it for a long time. When did we do the episode 0? Because that's when we really started working on the setting.
Imagine he was like 2012.
Yeah. All the way back when.
The episode 0s for main character.
While he's looking that up, I would like
because
us
I was in it, but I don't have any memory
to
of that time.
address the fish in the room. There's been a question as to what is behind you on your couch.
Oh, it's a
Why,
fish.
Steven? It's a fish. There
Guys,
you are.
It's a fish, guy.
It's a fish.
Just chill the fuck out. It's a fish.
It's a
So yeah, it's a little cat house thing. It's a fish tube for my cat. That she barely ever uses. She used to use it a lot, and now she barely uses it. And I just put it in the background because I think it's funny.
Yep, it's perfect.
Yeah, so we did the settings start for main character in November last year. Well, no, that's when we released it. So I think we did it in July or something.
It was definitely in the summer.
Yeah, it was in the summer.
I know. I was
like
dying.
June or July.
I remember just being. It might even have been earlier.
Yeah, episode 1 for main character was in November. So, yeah, 5 months roughly.
Yeah.
So that was for main character. Other shows differ greatly. Next.
Luckily, this VOD with all the chat will be deleted, and we don't have to.
And no one will know what I'm doing.
You people getting away with murder in the chat room. 2 questions submitted by Murgles. Next week is the Murgles special, where all questions will be submitted by Murgles.
So submitted by Murgles, okay, and answered by Murgles. That would
and
be
then
great, too. We just have
Murgles
her
will
sitting
also
here.
be here answering the questions.
Oh, Meyer sent me a message. So it was June. So yeah, 6 months.
Oh,
6 months of just pretty much working on prep for main character.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Gaywalkers.
But the thing is as well that you, I guess the way that you approached that was slightly different because you had each of the players start the world. You know, like it's hard to do. So my next show, we just did our session 0 for it. It's cast and they have characters, but they came in, I'd already written a bunch of the world, so they have come in still somewhat into that process, but to start the process with the session 0 with players that early is crazy, because then they have to wait 5 months to play those characters, which is a nuts amount of time. If you've ever made a character, you want to play it like that day. And I'm surprised they remembered their characters. Because when you're a DM, you spend that entire 5 months, at least some part of your brain is always thinking about
Always
the thing,
thinking about it, yeah.
and you're working on it constantly, even if you're just putting in like an hour here and there, or whether you're like solidly, like sometimes I will just like dive in for like a weekend, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I'll just jot this note down, but there's like a little bit, and that 5 months, lots of it gets built. But as a player, you just make a character and then you just wait for it to be presented to you. So to have when we're producing these shows, you have to get stuff done quite early a lot of the time. Like even we have to get artwork done, commissioned.
Yep.
So you have to make characters quite early just for that alone. But to have Whack is like, I'm gonna get them to build chunks of this world. And I was there because I was originally going to be in main character, and then Whack decided he didn't want me in the cast.
Yep. He fired you. You got fired after that session 0.
Yeah, which is completely
Should've tried
fair.
harder, man.
I mean, the things I was saying.
Yep.
Unacceptable.
Ridiculous.
And
it was the character creation really that cut you from that show.
My character would have been so good. I was going to play a fuckboy, just who didn't know anything.
That's why you got cut. That's
who
why you got
didn't
Character's
know
name
anything.
was Chad Tyler.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Was it really?
Yeah, it was.
And
Holy shit.
I was going to be just an influencer who had been paid to go to the event and knew nothing about MMOs, didn't know anything about the raids and stuff, and then gets pulled into the world and is like, what the hell are you lot doing? And they're all like, well, we have to cast this spell. And he's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, like the whole time. Just had no idea what to do. And then Whack was like, I don't want this character in my game. It's going to be very serious. We will not be having any comedy characters in it. And replace me with Maya. Dude, I am not kidding. I mentioned this on my stream earlier on. It made me laugh so much. It was so flippant and so throwaway. But the reveal that Bo...
He does it all the time.
Oh, dude, that got me.
He drops in little jokes.
The reveal that he's antibacterial and he's hand sanitizer last night got me so good. I love little stuff like that. But yeah, in terms of building the world, like having players contribute to it is crazy. But I had a sort of spin-off question from that, Whack. Does that make it easier or more difficult for you in terms of like pressure to get it right? Because if you're just building it yourself, you just have it all in your head. But if because you were given like little kind of prompts or it was just like bullet points about the worlds, and then you went away and kind of filled that stuff.
I would say less.
Yeah.
It's less because when people create part of the world, they feel more invested, and I feel like I'm accomplishing my job when I am making them more invested, because that's your goal, right? As the GM, it's like you want to tell a compelling story. You want everybody to have fun. It's the joke you always make, like, are you having fun? How come you didn't tell me you're having fun?
Oh my God.
Everybody hates me. Oh my God.
That's not a joke.
That's not a joke. That's just how I feel the moment the session ends every week.
Fair enough. So I feel like it's actually it's easier because they're directly responsible. And when you go to the place that you created, you know, it's like, oh, this was my idea, you know, like, you know, you know, I changed it a little bit, or I fleshed it out more. But I think that it makes them happy. Just it's a little happy moment regardless. You know, if we go to you know, Stella made some like silly places to go in main character. I really want to go there. I want to at least bring them to these places that they've created, you know, so that they can experience those places and
that's
have
that's
that
pressure in itself.
Yeah.
Because you've got to figure out how to do that.
Yeah. But I think when you get into your own head and you sit there and you create everything yourself, sometimes there's that disconnect that can happen where you could be like really into a place, you know, like, oh, you know, I nailed this place or whatever, and then you just never go there. Yeah. Right? You just never go there, and or you do go there and it just wasn't what you expected it to be. Like you didn't, you know, somehow you didn't sell it well enough. And I feel like when I did the 7th Eon, that was the first time with experience, I should say, that I made my own like fully fleshed out world.
That world is insane. Like I forgot how in depth that world was until I went back and watched the first few episodes of it to be able to run something in it. What the fuck? Overkill. You got to admit it was overkill.
Well, that was the first time that I did it with the players contributing, and I saw a big difference because when they
contributed one city each.
One like country, one region. It's the same kind of thing that we did for me.
The place is enormous.
Yeah.
The world is huge.
Yeah. What's your point?
There's just like you did so much work for it. It was crazy. Like it was a crazy amount of world build.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Yeah, I mean it was a lot, but that's what it is when you make your own setting. I mean, you work on your own stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've made whole settings like that as well, but I don't know if I have made one quite as complex and filled out as that.
Well, here's the thing. You need different things when you make a show, right? We all have different brains. We all need different things to spark our creativity. So for me, you know, I need to get in the heads of the people that live in these places, and then I can role play anything, right? It's like that is my crutch that I can fall back on. It's like if I know what kind of people live here, and I can sort of say like, okay, this is poor, this is like a poor region, or like this, you know, like people are being oppressed here or whatever, then I know what kind of attitude I can play, and then I can figure it out, whatever on the fly. So that's stuff that I need to work hard on. But then there's areas that I don't really invest myself in usually when I'm GMing, so I don't really flesh those out very much. When we make if we make a book setting, then you need to flesh everything out. You know, it's a lot different because again, you're trying to appeal to as many people as possible with a setting book.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. I mean, you have to flesh everything that you're presenting out, but surely there are setting books that come out and then they go, oh, but we've added a section to this, you know, or we finished this area or whatever, you know?
Yeah, errata or what have you. Yeah. I think, yeah, I mean, so if we use Critical Role as an example, Critical Role did that. So they released just a region and they did another book and they did another region. So that's definitely doable. But I think it still kind of falls under the same category. Like, you know, I mean, D&D's done it as well. I mean, they'll release like the Sword Coast, but the Sword Coast is one section of the Forgotten Realms. There's still a whole mess of crap. Or they'll
There's
release
quite a lot
like,
in the Sword Coast though.
Yeah.
Like the Sword Coast is a whole world.
where most people do stuff.
Yeah. Like the other thing is that well, I guess a book exists specifically for people who don't want to write their own world. They don't want to write their own thing, either because they can't and they would rather just do the DMing part and they've no interest in like creating the world, or they don't have time or something like that.
They don't have time, I think is another big one. Or they want to try like a new genre or something like that, right? Where it's like, oh, I want to try fantasy, but I don't want to fucking build an entire world, or
if there's
we're
just
doing
a
one
city
shot or whatever,
missing,
you know?
but it's listed on the map, what do they do? This is where my brain would be. This is why I would have to fill out every...
I did that with Seventh Eon, was when we were making up the world, I specifically said, then there has to be one area where we don't have, you don't have any information about this. And I just left it there. It was just like this scary place, no info.
I don't know what is going on with the bar tonight chat. It's just, it updates. I either have to manually do it or it just does it randomly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the tips.
So much for the tips.
Again, it doesn't change the subject.
2025
It just
shows. Thank you.
It just unlocks it. And yeah, this show at the moment is funding all of the other shows. One of the things that I am a fan of doing now when I'm in character creation is I don't say you have to create a thing. I just say you can if you want. I say like here, and here I have lots of information. So if you're from these places, you probably won't be able to, you can't invent it because it's already invented. But if you want to make a character and I'll give them the map or something and be like, find a place on here or make one up and make up whatever you want. Invent the town, invent the structure, the hierarchy, the economy, the climate, invent who runs the place, invent the gangs, whatever it is, whatever thing you want to create that is for your usually it's because they are creating a character who needs context and a backstory. And so I'm like, if you in that character creation process make an entire thing, whatever it is, it could be a whole town, it could be a whole continent, whatever it is, just do it and send it to me. And I will either fold it into whatever already exists there, or I'll just use it and that will be created. But also, if you don't want to do that, don't. Just be like, my name's Tim, I'm from that place, and I'll figure out the rest as we go. And then I'll figure out that place. I'll be like, okay, well, this is this and this is this. If anyone asks, the name of your town is this and this is the mayor. And I do that. And I'm a fan of that because I think sometimes people don't want to create a whole thing, or they don't have time.
Or they feel the pressure of like, you know, we all feel the pressure of, oh, I want it to be good enough to be in your world or whatever, you know?
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary. But it's not everyone's thing. Like, people like role-playing, but don't like GMing because improving the creation of the world and just role-playing, oh, I'm the wind, is different to playing a character. And sometimes people just, that's not their thing. Their thing is playing the role-play. The character.
That's why they're there. Yeah, for sure.
And so this is what I kind of tend to do now, is just be like whatever you write as much or as little as you want. And if it fits, I'll fit it in, and if it doesn't, I'll tell you how, and I might need to adjust it. But you know, otherwise, or I'll just tell you if you'd rather. You know, if you're like, oh, I'm busy, I ain't got time to write this thing out. Just give me a week, and I'll get back to you with a bunch of info. Or maybe I'll give you some and then you can fill out the rest or make it apply to your character. But I find that in the world building process I enjoy doing that because it does a bit of both. It kind of lets them have that ownership of like an area, because that is that sort of meta feeling I try and go for and secretly trick all my players with a lot of the time, in that their character will feel real because the home that they're from, they are from. They actually have a connection to it. A subconscious connection forever, because they made their home. And they didn't just write a bunch of names down. Yeah, so I like doing that, but also it takes a lot of pressure off of, you know, whatever. So I've sort of done that with the last few shows. Well, Cura was a bit difficult because Cura was a weird setting. Like, I bombed them with just this really weird thing where I was like, there are angels on the ground and they're affecting the world, and they had no idea about what was coming. So it was like, you know, good luck figuring, because it's just a weird alien concept to just bomb players with, especially when because a lot of the time, again, we're only halfway through writing the world when we make characters with them. So they come in and they're like, what's it about? And you're like, I don't know yet. But it's sort of this.
It's just sort of kind of just trust me.
It's along this gist.
It's going to be about this.
There's like maybe a whale in it.
I definitely won't change it 3 times.
I'm not going to absolutely have a panic attack on the day.
And change
episode
everything.
1. That's a weird thing. But I think we're probably all the same in this in that process. One of the other things I think that we haven't touched on, just to close out this topic a little bit.
PB also dodged it hardcore.
I was
PB
just waiting.
Had the option to speak at the beginning and declined. So because of that
then I'll just decline
because you
forever.
Abstained. No, I just wanted to mention it. We got time. Is not just.
I'm sorry. Are you pretending like you didn't forget that I hadn't answered that just now?
No, I knew.
Oh no, we got time. I'm just doing this thing real quick, and then we'll go back to your answer that you forgot that I.
No.
Okay.
I assumed that you were going to speak as well.
Okay.
I said close out. What I meant was round out.
Okay.
I now realize what is happening.
I'm just giving you a hard time for no reason.
It's fine.
I'm awful. I'm the
No,
worst.
it's all
I'm
good.
Sorry.
Wait till I tell you something later. You know what?
Okay.
I want everyone to remember this, actually. For next week.
Ask me tomorrow.
I think probably by this time next week, I will be able to. I'll be able to win this.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add in. Here you go. Let me add an addendum. Is that when we're creating these campaigns,
an addendum applies. It's over. I'm so sorry.
An additional point. Have an additional point to make. I'm really tired today. You can't do this to me. The thing with making these campaigns is we do production stuff as well. So you're building, you build like half of everything for a session 0, and then you build the rest after that, which is not how I imagine. If you weren't running a D&D show as a show, and you were just running it as a game for your friends, and you just had until March 7th or whenever to do this none of it matters. You can make characters a day before. And but we have to build like a few overlays. We have to build you have to make a logo and stuff and all that kind of thing, and maybe a short stinger or something, just so that we can record the session 0.
Fucking logo is awesome for Don't Die. I'm just saying.
It is
sick as hell. Thank you.
You did
the whole
well.
video came out ridiculously.
I don't
good.
understand how you did it in 20 minutes.
Thank you.
If you want more information about Don't Die,
it's a great thumbnail too.
Yeah.
Which is another big secret.
Oh, there's no thumbnail doesn't exist?
Hmm?
Yeah, it must exist.
What?
Never mind.
Okay.
He's making little plans to back up whatever master plan he had for
No, I'm not. I just was like, wait, the thumbnail has not been released? How is that possible? We've released a trailer. There must be a thumbnail.
Yeah, there must be a thumbnail. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to build this in a really unorthodox way, is what I was saying. In that you sort of have to build a really like half of a thing, and then also some of the production stuff, then run a session 0 and make characters when the world is undercooked a lot of the time, or the adventure or the story, whatever you've got planned, is undercooked. Somehow get characters made, then you get the art commissioned. You send that off, the artist works on that, and then you come back and you build the rest of it. And that is an awkward place to be, because you're also building intros, and you're building overlays, and you're preparing, visual aspects, and learning Foundry, like from scratch, is where WAC was last year, admittedly, or 3 years ago, whenever Gatewalkers began.
So I have fun doing that shit, though. I love learning that stuff. Like Brad and PB, I think, generally hate it.
I like learning it. What I hate is the first part. Once I get the ball rolling, I can enjoy it. I can enjoy it at learning additional things, but like the upfront stuff, the basics, the school. It reminds me of sitting in school and doing a class, whether I'm watching a YouTube video teach me or wax on a call. This is what you do. This is what you do. I'm just sat there with a little notepad like I'm in school, and that I don't learn that way very well. I'm not that kind of a learner. I learn by like doing usually.
Yeah, me too.
And
That's
so
why
just
I find it so difficult as well.
Just being bombed with information, which is really one of the only ways you can learn this stuff. I'm also surprised, PB, that you can, and we're going to go off on a fucking tangent, and I know that you're desperate to answer this question.
I'm buckled up. Let's go. No. I'm just being an asshole. I don't know why I'm so sorry.
One of the reasons I don't run a lot of different settings, I make the joke that there always has to be
Pumpkinberry.
There always has to be a Lannister at Castle Rock running D&D. But I actually hate learning new settings or new systems, because they're so hard to learn at first. Because you're just like, what? And then you use a D6 for what?
Yeah, like
what is a fate
Star Wars
coin? Yeah, exactly.
The character creation was so overwhelming, you guys. I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to make the wrong decision. I just want to play this type of...
I remember you coming into that character creation on like 2 hours sleep. Something was wrong with you that day, and it was hilarious because you came in.
My cousin died.
Okay. I didn't realize it was that funny. Holy shit. That's even funnier than I could have imagined. You were on 2 hours sleep. Your cousin had died.
Yep.
And you came in and you orcish up
my
that
cousin who I played
creation.
D&D with. Yeah.
Oh.
So it was like fucking. It was brutal.
Perfect.
So good.
You orcished up the character creation. And you were dying. You were dying.
Yeah.
You were. I just remember you just being, just barely conscious.
Afterwards, you were like, "Hey, do you want to be in the show?" And
I was like,
yes.
I
was like, "Yeah, yes, you don't understand." And then I didn't even tell him. I didn't even tell him for like a month. I think I was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm so sorry about the beginning."
I was like, "She hates
my fucking cousin died."
Everything.
Yeah.
The others were just like, "I don't think she wants to be in this show. What's going on?"
Yeah. What's happening?
It was so unlike you.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, you should be. I can't believe that you did that.
Yep, it was me.
You had no excuse.
I was stage 4 cancer. That was me.
Yeah, it was horrendous. But yeah, the structure of the system is super confusing.
Yes.
It's extra
But once
confusing
we
because
were
it doesn't
playing
use dice or whatever.
It was awesome.
Yeah, because you learn.
The
Because
light and the
it's
dark.
like playing
yeah,
a
it was
board
really,
game.
really good.
I can't
it
play a
was
board
good.
game until I've done one round of it.
Same. And
then I'm in.
Whack does this thing where he'll like very wonderfully be reading the instructions before you're playing the board game, and then there just hits a point, and it's about 2 minutes in after he's speaking, so he's got another 5 minutes to go, where I'm just like, nope, I will retain no more, I'm so sorry. And he's just like very gently explaining it. I'm like, we have to play it or I won't. I'm not. I won't
You're
be able
better
to
off.
retain any of this.
The best type of person in a
I
board
have to
game.
teach PB Foundry tomorrow, by the way.
The best type of person in a board game setting is a Whack Steven who learns the whole thing first because they can enjoy it, and then runs you through a practice round, and then you go. Like that's my favorite way to approach a board game. Is I show up and no one reads me the rules. They just play one round.
They just go here.
I go
this is
there.
it.
Yeah, I don't need to know anymore.
I'm the same. Practice round, and then if
fair,
I've got a question that's relevant, you answer it.
I think you're also comparing me to yourselves. I'm not the best at that stuff. Meyer is. Meyer's really good at
That's
reading
fair. Meyer's
the shit.
really good at that. Yep.
Meyer's a super
Faye is amazing at reading the rules, and then Dan, Faye, Meyer.
Dan's really good too. Yep.
Dan, Faye, and Meyer, best like rule readers, and Zeke. Zeke is another good one.
Zeke's really good too. Yep.
At reading the rules.
Well,
I am
and
not
retaining.
great at it.
You said that. I guess the difference is you said that you can enjoy that process when you're learning a new system
two different
or
things
learning
for me.
Foundry or something like that.
I love discovering things on my own. I love that shit. That's how I learned the Adobe suite, is discovering all that stuff myself. I've learned that. I had one high school class on animation in general, and we used probably After Effects. Was After Effects out that early? I don't even know if it was. But we used like some of the Adobe stuff like early on, and that was the only introduction I had to Adobe stuff. Everything else I taught myself throughout the years. So I love discovering those things on my own. When I discover like a new way to do something in the software, that's fucking awesome for me. I love that shit.
The fucking opposite, bro. I don't necessarily go out seeking things. I'm like, how do I do this thing? And then I tinker until I figure it out. But then if, years later it comes out and I watch Miranda do like 2 fucking keystrokes and I'm like, what the fuck did you just do? And she's like, oh yeah, it's just a shortcut. And I'm like, I'm gonna fucking jump off a balcony. I've been doing it the long way for how long? I could have just Googled it. Is there a faster way to do said thing? But it just doesn't occur to me to do it because I've already figured my own way to do it.
We're on a tangent.
Whack,
of a
do you remember
tangent,
when you taught me how to do you remember when you taught me about masking?
Yeah.
You just
changed my life.
yeah.
Didn't know how to do masking.
The basic.
Did not know.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
The reason they
like,
created.
You can just
the
mask
Adobe
it, Peeves. You don't have to spend all that time cutting it out yourself. You can just mask it. Wait, what? fucking what?
And then it became irrelevant when they had when they added the different background removal shit.
Yeah. Well, no, I still use masking now in OBS. It's changed the way I do overlays. It's great. Anyway.
Yep.
Sorry.
Well, the thing is that I guess the point I was going to say is that you run a lot of different systems. You will learn different systems and run them, whereas I don't, because I hate that first initial upfront learn of a new system. I hate it because it's school. It's a textbook. You've got a textbook. It's a fun textbook. It's got Star Wars on the cover. It's the most fun textbook you could put in front of me.
Yes.
I'm at school, man, and I'm falling asleep reading that thing on page 2.
Really? So I had fun reading it, but then when we got to the character tree, there was a lot there to process. But once you figured Star Wars out, like it's really fun, actually.
It took me a long
easy to
time.
play.
I had to watch a lot of videos, and I watched, and really, I learned how to run that by watching someone else play it. I just watched another Star Wars stream, and that DM taught me how to play it. That's it. That's how I did it.
And that's what people do when they're watching Tablestory sometimes.
Well, that would be the worst way to learn D&D if you're watching my show. Orcish and Maya.
Well, I don't
all the
know
way
about
through
that.
Cura, vibrating with anger at my flippant disregard of the rules and mechanics. So
you got that from me?
I've never wanted to run D&D 5e. I want to run Brad Makes a Final Fantasy game.
Yep.
And I just found a vehicle in which to do that, where I didn't have to make my own game up and run it. I could never have made my own system without.
Thank you for all the tips, by the way, everybody. Don't worry, we'll get there on the.
Yeah, it unlocks the topic. It doesn't change the subject. I am watching it. We are aware. PB is going to answer this question finally, so that we can move on.
What was the question, though? Now we've gone so far off topic.
Okay. Way back an hour ago, 45 minutes ago, I said to you, how long do you estimate it takes for you to create a world for one of your homebrew campaigns?
You said to me,
where you feel
I will tell you something later, and I've been sitting in anxiety since that moment. So anything you tell me now is gone.
I'm not going to tell you something later on. I'm just going to win. It's a very different.
Same anxiety spike. Same anxiety spike.
I would hope that it's worse, to be honest. That's what I was saying.
It's worse.
What does that mean?
It is much worse.
So, how long does it take for you to create a world and to the point where you feel comfortable playing in it? I mean, you just set all of your campaigns in Manhattan. Done.
Yeah. So that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. Even when you went to the effort of making Din, you still just fucking grab
that wasn't a guarantee. That was a roll, and I just went with it because it worked. And I was like, all right, I guess this is what we're fucking doing.
Ever stop mentioning it ever in my life.
I know.
It's one of my favorite things that's ever happened in anything.
Yeah, it was.
I will never forget sitting there and everyone goes, what? Like, people thought that you fucked up, or
Yeah, I know.
We weren't even on screen, I don't think. I think we were all just like blacked out.
That's my one regret on that show, is that when I made that reveal, you guys were not on screen, because your faces, and then you're like, what? And then you got excited, and then
losing
you were ordering new clothes.
Oh
and
my god!
Really
that was
good.
crazy. Anyway.
Yeah, you guys were picking out like outfits and shit.
Tangent of a tangent. Answer the question.
Yeah. So, how long does it take me to create something that I feel comfortable GMing in? I think we meme a lot about how much I will shirk the responsibility off onto the players, but I actually I definitely do that on purpose, because Wack said earlier, and I agree, that it does make the players a little bit more invested. But also I've noticed that if I rely entirely on my imagination during the session, it feels a little bit more stale for me, and it's harder for me to do things like take people to Manhattan. So it's a lot more enjoyable for me as a GM when I say to somebody like, well, what are you picturing here? Because now we're collaborating, and they're probably going to tell me something that I wasn't imagining, and now I'm listening to them describe it, and then I can see it in my head, and it just gets my creative space going. I think it gets their creative space going, even if they're not, not everyone's going to be very comfortable in the beginning doing that for you. They might be like, well, I imagine it's this, or I imagine he's that. And you just have to go with, whatever they want to give you, whether, as little or as much as they want to give you. Some people, like Zeke, will just go into full detail about the pie place and the most popular pie that they make, and the type of people that they have serving and sitting there. You've got people like that who will go into great detail, and then you have other players who will just, what are you doing?
We're talking to each other in the chat room.
Monsters!
Look, the whole time you were talking, I was so distracted because for some reason Whack is like lighting up different colors. Like there's a fireworks display going off in front of him. And I was like, what is happening to him? Is he watching Clubland videos?
Make
and
you
then
feel better.
He said, is Brad
if I
watching Marvel
change
Snap?
it.
Because I was doing this and I was unwrapping my little sandwich that I've made for myself. Because I
okay.
I get
What's in the
really
sandwich?
just butter and salt. It's so fucking depressing. I haven't got anything to put in it. I was literally like looking around. The only things I have are things I can cook. But I always get like a headache on Saturday mornings because I don't eat the back end of the evening because I'm doing this. I do it on every GM night because I GM at night. So I just do this and go straight to bed. And then I realize I haven't eaten for like 15 hours by the time I get to food. And then I'm like, next morning.
You
so
win.
I'm quickly nibbling a little sandwich. But I was listening. I was enjoying it. Carry on.
I don't even know what I was saying.
You were talking about your favorite animals.
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
You were talking about how in depth
some
players
and
will go.
how
Like
players
Zeke
will get very invested.
Will create the pizza toppings.
Yes. They'll go into great detail about the restaurant or whatever the place, but but I think like when you take a second as a GM to say, well, what do you imagine that they look like, or what do you imagine that they, how they're interacting with you or how they react to you? That's a big one that I use a lot. Like, how do you imagine that this person is reacting to you tells me more about what the player thinks of their character than what the action their character did. And I don't think that was eloquent at all. I don't think that got across, but like, if somebody says like, oh, like they're, I think they're a little unsure or they're describing the NPC's reaction to the room. I don't know. It tells me more about what the player is thinking about the reception of their character, which tells me something that I can use as a GM. So I'll use that one a lot too. Or, how does your character feel in this space? If they can't describe it and get visual, then I'm usually like, well, what is it? How do you feel to be in here or that kind of thing? And yeah, like we did that for a most recent example, I think is Deathless in the Diner. And I was asking them like kind of what they imagined was in the diner, and they described it completely differently than I was imagining it. And then somebody had mentioned the bubble of the spell as being a weird bubble, and it's just totally different than what I had imagined, but obviously I want to go with that. But it gets that part of my creative brain going in a way that if I'm just sitting there pulling from my own head for 2.5 hours, then it's not it's
a very
dry.
different experience.
It's the same old shit. Yeah,
it sparks. You get a little spark, a little flint going.
Yeah, because I think it's kind of a little bit like the difference. Like it's public speaking.
Yeah,
like you're doing exposition almost. Like if it's just you, then you might as well just fucking make a recording or something.
Yeah,
like what's the point?
Yeah,
so trying to find those little back and forth moments is good. You do it naturally. It just kind of happens, and it's really I'm always very impressed how you're able to do that so well, because I will forget sometimes.
Yeah,
I'll go on a ramble and I'm like, oh, an hour's passed. You idiot! What did you just do?
It's the worst. That's GMing though, isn't it? That's what the difference between the players at your table is.
Yeah.
Well, your character is the world.
Yeah.
It's just an insane character to have to play.
Yeah.
Their characters are a condensed individual, this is very important. This will drive the narrative and stuff. But your character is just the bullshit around them. It's the steaming vent or, a phosphorus monster that's appearing or whatever, the stars twinkling.
I also like when they describe stuff, it's like it's exceptionally cool when you hear that and then you go, ooh, I actually have a sewer sound here that I can use for that to kind of like add to the ambience. And then they're even more invested because they just described a thing and then you gave it to them. And then you were like, yes, okay, let me give you this ambience that you just described. And so, it is that back and forth. And it is the collaborative part of why I like this so much. We could be, making scripted shows or even improv shows, but it really is the we're sitting down, we're building this world together, we're following this narrative together that I think is, is the jam. So in terms of like Nibiru, so for Gone, that's a really good example, I think, because I read so much about the world in that system because the lore was so rich and I loved it. And I was thinking, this is a great place to do a Blade Runner-esque type show. Holy shit. But the story that I wrote for Gone fits in here, but not in anywhere that they've written. So I had to kind of like I made up the whole, most of where we stayed in the Umbra was not listed in the book. It was just like, this is the Umbra and it's dark. Enjoy. And so I was like, okay, well, we're going to add this lake and we're going to do all this stuff. And so, you know, that was something that I kind of just, I got to be honest with you guys. I don't really sit down and go with, crazy details. I like the idea that there's a lake. I like the idea that there's bioluminescence that look like stars, but it's, like fungus. And I don't even know if I described that. Somebody else may have done that. And I was like, that's sick as hell. So I think for Deathless, I knew I was like, okay, this is a place that exists. This is a place that exists. I have like 4 or 5 places that are there solid. And then everywhere else, I'm like, fuck it. We're going to see what happens. Like when we get there, if they go somewhere and I don't have it planned, then we'll figure it out when we get there. And then I'll maybe ask the players to help me build it together. So I don't really have to have the rough draft is a great way to explain it. I'll have a rough draft and I'll feel comfortable enough to play in it.
But also like when you're doing something like that's set in the real world, like I've only run 1-2 things maybe ever in the real world.
You get to use a real map.
You don't have to make up the whole village or the structure of society there or what's around. You just have to make like a club or like the scientist's lab or an evil lair underground, if it's like a superhero thing or something like that. Which is a different way to world build, kind of.
Yeah. Now, for Din, I did something completely different. I did what you guys do, I think, because I was like, oh, I want to try my hand at like traditional world building, and that was just something where it was like I knew where we were starting, and so I really focused on that and that kind of like area, and I thought about travel and like how far things were, and kind of what it used to be like, and then how it was desiccated and stuff like that. And I just answer my own questions. That's how I world build, and that's how you should world build too, because it's easy. Yeah, because you're like,
I haven't done it for this next thing, to be fair.
Well, yes, you have, because sort of. Shut up, Pumpkinberry. Cool, awesome, got it.
Sort of.
Sort of.
This is really different. Oh man, I want to talk about it so much.
Yeah, we can't talk about it. But yeah, anyway, so for answering your own questions, so it's like, I've built this world, and then it's like, well, what's the, it's right on the ocean. What is the weather like? Oh, it's probably rainy and foggy and blah, blah, blah. Well, what do they do? What import export is if you're like building towns, that's a really good question to start with. Like what is the town known for? Okay. And then you go from there and they're like, okay, well, where do they give that to? Over here. And then, you just answer your own questions, I guess, as you're doing that. But I had a lot of fun. Yeah. I had a lot of fun building Din and making like the whole Drakin and all that kind of stuff, and like this weird creek.
I'm sorry. I'm like, I know I keep interrupting you, but I'm like just being a fanboy at this point. What was it called? What was the area where there was like the fold, like the we were traveling to it called? Oh,
the traveling wood, right? The woods that would walk?
No, it was like
the walking wood?
Was the scar or something.
The wound.
The wound.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When did that get made in the process?
So
did you add that in like while we were playing, or was that
no.
Was it part of the world build? It was part of the world build.
It was always part of the world build.
Because that shit's insane as well. Like to do that kind of thing where you're like, this is here.
So I'm just gonna, because this is the point of non-effort and this podcast, right?
What?
Okay.
I don't know. You didn't say anything.
Well, I'm gonna. And I don't think I've shared this point yet, but the other side of the world, right? So you've got Theria, which is where Din is, and then you've got the other half of the world, which is where Sulez is.
You've never spoken about this?
I've never spoken about this. The wound goes all the way through the middle. So the reason why Sulez has the continents rising up in the air is because it's the opposite end of the other wound, and so it's going out, and the
Inversion
other
world.
on and then on Din's side it's pulling inward.
I always imagined it like
I
don't think this was the case, but I always imagined it if you've seen Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, I think you told me that. You were like, and yes, I have but I think it's Brotherhood that does this, right?
Yeah, I
Because
think
I've
it's
seen the original.
yeah. Brotherhood
Yeah.
is the. I mean, it's a massive spoiler, so I don't want to ruin it. But like, it
Yeah.
has an element to it that's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, what the fuck? And I thought that's what was going on for a long time. And then you took us to Manhattan as well, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
So for me, really, that world was built because I was like, I want a continent or an area where I can go and do like fucking fantasy, like with elves and shit like that. But then I also want a JRPG section where frogmen exist. And I was like, well, I'll just do it on both sides of the world. Here and then here. And then there's a huge belt that, in between.
And if you have no idea what we're talking about, because we're speaking in half sentences and stuff, then you'll have to go and watch everything Pumpkinberry's ever run. But we're specifically talking about Kingmakers there. Which is a show
Kingmakers,
run by PB. Do you
I had
mind?
a lot of fun with that one, making that world. I would like to finish that one day. Yep. The best part about that map was that there are so many like references to my life in there, so I'm very attached to it. Like this is gonna ruin the world for you guys. You're gonna look at the map and you're gonna be like, oh my god. But there's like
so many jokes. I'm not going to.
There's a place called Rosewell, which is a reference to Roswell. There's the Sandman Bluffs. Like I have got you guys in there. I've got like shit, related to, I think my kindergarten teacher's name is in there somewhere. Like it's just like a map of my life a little bit in my brain. So yeah, anyway.
We got to move
I
on.
enjoyed that. I'm sorry.
No?
I'll never speak again.
That's not what I was saying. I just think we should move on. We're going to run out of track.
Us? Never.
We can bullshit for the entire night.
We don't want to bullshit.
No, he's saying
That's
we
what I'm saying.
won't get. Yeah, we're gonna run out of time before we answer all the questions.
We gotta get to the questions.
The only real time limit is how long Brad can stay awake.
Yeah,
I'm willing to test this.
About 4 minutes, so we got to get this done.
Yep.
The next question was first campaigns, which is a question from Bro the Boss, which said, "I have a question for tomorrow." This was submitted. Yesterday. What were the first?
Confused.
I confused myself as well because I just started reading it and then.
Teaches PB Foundry because.
Oh my god, that would be horrible. It'd be brutal.
No, never.
What were, and this is a question. I think I don't think I need to answer this because it's not interesting, but I actually want to know this from both of you because I don't know. I don't think I know this at all from Whack. I don't know unless he starts answering it. I think I know it from you, PB, and I don't know if you're going to hate answering it or not.
Okay. Well, we'll find out. Let's go.
Here we go. I'll let it sit for a moment, let that anxiety rise.
Fuck you, dude. You win, okay?
I don't know. This is the thing. I don't know. What were the first campaigns you ran for a TTRPG? Doesn't have to be live. And what was your favorite moment from them? I don't know if the first things you ran were online. For you, PB, I don't think it was. It was like when you were a kid. Whereas I think me and Wacker, we came in late, or did you run games when you were younger too?
I did not run games when I was younger.
Yeah,
I started in 2012.
Right. So yeah, and I was a few years later than that.
I think that's about me as well. Maybe I don't know. I'd have to.
Well, away you go, one of you.
But yeah. You want to go first, Wack? Because I'm still
what
in
were
the never speak again.
What were the first campaigns you ran, and what was your favorite moment?
Yep.
So straight up, when I was doing StarCraft stuff with DJ Wheat, we ran a show called Kings of Tin. So I had a little following on Twitter.
Tin Maker. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Please fire me.
I had a little following on Twitter, and I was watching. This directly relates to why I got into TTRPGs at all. So they all kind of mesh together here. So I watched Will Wheaton's Tabletop, and he played Dragon Age the TTRPG. And I was basically kicking myself because I was like, I had this stupid thought in my head, like D&D was too nerdy for me, which was so ludicrous and stupid.
You were one of those?
Yeah, I was.
Whoa.
I think because I misunderstood what it was. I just didn't know.
Mhm.
I saw ads and stuff in comic books, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And I just kind of like brushed past it. Like it never registered, never sat in my head. And I watched them do it, and I was like, this is what it is. I was like, these are all of the things that I like. God damn it. And so when that happened, I started looking around for stuff. It Me JP did a show with Koibu. He ran something, and I watched that. And I also got into Penny Arcade. Penny Arcade had a D&D podcast that they were doing, which was Acquisitions Incorporated, which was amazing. That was like the Super Bowl of D&D back then. It was just...
I remember hearing about that, but I didn't
They would release one a year. And it was really good. It was very silly, very funny, very like silly D&D. It was like, let's sit around the table, make a bajillion jokes, and just have stupid fun playing D&D. That's what it was.
That's Gary's new Friday game. That's why he's not here right now. No, I'm not kidding. He told me today.
So yeah, they've expanded on this over the years now. I mean, they've got settings and everything. They work with D&D. It's crazy. So I saw all that stuff and I was like, well, I want to do this. How do I do this? And so I just was like, I'm just going to go on Twitter and see if anybody wants to fucking play. So I just put a message on Twitter. Yeah. I just said, does anybody want to play a fucking TTRPG? And this was, again, I've got audience from like StarCraft and shit and doing a show. And it was very dangerous, you know, just like, let's just get a bunch of people. And my thought in my head was like, I'll talk to them first, you know, I'll just feel them out a little bit. So got a little group together, and it was 12th Doc, Arnams, Painful, and
Tuesday
I'm
Greg.
blanking on people's names. No. It was Kika and
your brain will give it to you as soon as you stop.
Yeah, as soon as I stop.
That one person that you've forgotten, by the way, is
it's,
sat there.
It's the person that comes by all the time, and I fucking
sat in the rain on the doorstep in the dark, just left behind, and the van drove away without them.
Oh my god!
And sad music.
Yep.
Yeah. First,
Q
it
Godly.
starts
Let's
with
go.
C, some SEA, and I'm blanking on their name, and I feel like such a jerk because it's the only person.
He's destroyed his own story. You should have just said, "I got some people from Twitter," and then moved on.
Yep. Thought I might had him on Steam, but I don't. Okay. Yep.
He's not sleeping tonight. That's it. He's done.
Yep.
So I got them together. Who's gonna GM?
Who exactly did you get together?
And we couldn't decide who's gonna GM, and I forced it on one of the people. Like, has anybody had any GM experience? And 12th Doc was like, oh, I ran like one game. I'm like, GM, you're the only one that's got any experience with it. It's you. And he's like, oh, okay. So we did Pathfinder, Rise of the Rune Lords. We started to do it, and I had started building my own thing. I was like, the module's cool. I was like, I'm going to build my own thing. And I asked, you know, like, do you want me to GM? Do you want, because I like created something. I was like, do you want me to GM?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we can do it, you know, whatever. And we created a game. So I streamed right away.
Oh, wow.
I streamed it, my first GM thing.
Nice.
So it was called The Order of the Word. And it was...
Isn't that literally in Supernatural? What are they called?
I don't know, but that's also literally my childhood. So
The Order of the Word. Jesus.
So it was it was a campaign where effectively I was playing around with the ideas of like persecution stuff, and
Told ya.
like there were basically like half orcs that were essentially like half orcs were sort of like horribly treated, and they overcame their oppressors, and they ended up taking over the world and kind of almost did a switch, and they started becoming the oppressors.
Oh, wow.
And they left everybody kind of like almost like on a prison island. It was a little bit like an Attack on Titan kind of situation. And the best thing that I think that I did in that was I had the players time travel into the bodies of some of the half-orcs that started the revolution. So I gave them notes. I basically gave them a little note card.
That's
I said, this is your goal. This is what you were trying to do.
That's cool.
Do it however you want. And then we did like an Ocean's 11 kind of thing with it. And they got these crazy superpowered weapons and stuff. And that was the beginning of the revolution.
What was your favorite moment?
I was just gonna ask that. Yeah, was it the cards?
It was like 2 sessions that we did the flashback. I think just that whole flashback was really fun because they just got a different, they got a different character, and I gave them like this crazy, horrible thing that sort of, they were trying to do this thing to reclaim their identities effectively and stop being oppressed, and they got so much power that it corrupted them in a short period of time. So just doing the whole scene where they got these like sort of like blood drinker weapons. Did we get a massive? Is that what just happened? Is PB losing? No. Whoa! Holy shit! Oh my god! Thank you so much.
It was Bear of Flame, by the way. Bear of Flame. I mean, we've really got to start spamming through these questions now. Damn, Bear.
Oh, wow. So that was my favorite moment. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Next question, quick.
Okay. My first campaign that I ever did was in my basement. It was probably around 2011, maybe 2000, somewhere. Wait, no, that can't be right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Somewhere in 2004, 2008 area. Okay, somewhere in there. First campaign I ever ran. My favorite moment it was like in the world of Nocturne, but far in the future, which is a lot of fun. And my favorite moment from it was when 2 of my players called me at like 3 a.m. I have PTSD, so I like heard the phone ring. I was sleeping. I woke up and I was like, oh my God, my brain just went, they've been in a car accident leaving your home late at night because the session went too long and you have murdered someone. But then I'm like, hello? And they're like shouting. And so it's taking me a second to fucking go on, like, oh my God, somebody's dying. And then they're just like, and this happened, and then this happened, and did you mean to do that? And I'm like, what is happening right now? And they're like, we've been in the car in this person's driveway since we left the fucking house, and we think we figured it out. And I was like, I can never GM again. And I never did until Stygian.
Wow.
Yep. I was like, that is the best moment, the best feeling in the whole fucking world, and I can never top it. So I'm never doing this again.
Damn. All right. Well, I didn't really know that about you guys. Well.
Cool. What about you?
I knew that I knew the gist of it, but I'd never heard the actual things.
I feel like I know Braz.
I think everyone knows mine, but I ran a thing called the Mind Harvest, which is the Mistlight is a soft sort of reboot of the Mind Harvest, and a spirit and a direct sequel. It's weird because it was the first thing I ever ran, and that also didn't end. Like
third time's the charm.
This is what I mean. Yeah, it's sort of the curse of that story.
That third one's gonna be fucking weird.
The story is about reincarnation, so it's just it actually weirdly fits, but I I ran the thing. It's a very similar story to Whack. And around the same time, it can only have been a couple of years later. I think it was 2015 or 2016. I watched me and Emma watched some D&D in a hotel room. We had nothing to do, so we set up a laptop and put on a Twitch stream. And there were people doing a roleplay stream, and I think it was that same It Me JP show, or it was a Koibu show. No, I think it was Koibu's
said before
show.
it was Koibu, yeah.
And we were like, what the fuck are these losers doing? Like, me and Emma were like, what the fuck is this? What are they doing? Is it, like, because we'll get it in this as well. They're like, where's the game? People come in and they're like, we don't know what this is. Are they acting?
Yeah,
is there a game? Is this
freaks
scripting?
me out sometimes thinking like we just set somebody on the same journey that we went on.
Yeah. They're like, people come in, they're not being rude. They're not being, like little fuckboys about it. They're just like, what the fuck is happening? Me and Emma were watching this thing completely ironically. Like, what the fuck are they doing? And we were just like, whatever. We watched it for an hour and we were like, wait, so they're playing a game. I knew what D&D was, but I didn't know about it on this level. I had played one game of D&D years before with a bunch of people who didn't want to role play. So it was just combat.
Same.
So this DM showed up from Games Workshop for me and a couple of friends. Liam was there, and we played just combat. And I was like, that was fine. It was just a crap board game. And it wasn't even that nerdy. And at the time, I was playing a lot of Magic the Gathering. I was like, that is way nerdier than D&D. Like, D&D has this whole like stigma around it.
It is.
Magic is so much nerdier. So I didn't really know what D&D was. And then we were watching the show. I eventually, me and Emma watched this thing for the next fucking 3 weeks. We watched that entire campaign. We went back to the beginning and we were like so in. We watched the whole show. It was called The Age of Ruin or something like that, or Age of Strife by Koibu. And I loved it by the end of it. And I was like, I want to play this so much. I had one friend who I knew called Matt. And I was like, hey, Matt, you play D&D, right? He was like, kind of, yeah. I was like, can you get me a DM? And he was like, yeah. So he gets me a DM. This guy called Tom, didn't know him. And I'm like, I want to play D&D, but I also only know how to do things online. Because at this point, I'm like half a YouTuber, half a streamer. I was like moving over from YouTube to Twitch. I was like, I'll set up a live stream for this because I don't know how to do anything outside of a live stream, especially at this point in my life. So me, Emma, Matt, and Tom, and Stuart Ashens, playing a game called Chronicles of the Grey, which is on my channel from like 2015 or 2016.
Oh, wow.
I played that for 2 sessions before I started writing my own thing. I was like, I can do this. I'm going to fucking have a go at this. But it was more like I just needed more. I was like, who else can DM? And no one could DM. I was like, there's got to be other people that can GM another game. Hey, Tom, do you want to do another game a week? He was like, I'm too busy, man. I was like, fuck it, I'll do it. I just started writing
the player's name.
I'll do it.
I remember the player's
name.
name.
Hey, who was it?
Seahole.
Right.
Seahole.
Okay, well done,
Thank you, buddy.
All right.
Sorry, I'm a jerk.
had to text them. What is your name?
I just remembered. It just popped into my head when you were telling me.
I told you, as soon as you stopped stressing about it, it would come in there,
So then I ran a game.
Comes in there.
I went.
Yep. I was like, I cannot believe I worded it that way. Couldn't I have picked any other way to word it? Fucking what a weirdo.
And that was it. That was what I did. I ran it was very similar to Wax Story, but I ran the Mind Harvest. And the best moment and the worst moment was the TPK at the end. Noodle Leith was a player.
Yes, I was right.
Yep.
Distracted Elf was a player. We had some other players as well, but I won't name them.
Could you name them all right now in this moment
I
and
could,
not forget
but I'm
any?
not gonna.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fine.
One was Emma, one was Nido Dude, and one was somebody who I had to kick off of a show later on in the time for dropping N-bombs in the middle of just in the middle of a show. A Dutch guy who was like, "Yeah, it's not a swear word here," and I was like, "You are insane," and I have to fucking completely excommunicado you. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't remember his name.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. You could have just moved on.
Well, you made me justify it.
I did.
and,
I made you prove that you haven't forgotten your players.
Yeah, so in the last episode of the Mind Harvest, Noodle's character, who was like a paladin, they were in this like crumbling cavern. I'd given them 1 billion chances, and I was like, the cave is going to fall down on you, the cave is going to fall down on you. They're having an argument, these two characters, and Noodle's character punches the wall, and I was like, give me an athletics check. He rolled like a natural 20, and I was like, the cave, it begins a cave in, and I gave them the chance to run and escape, and the things were coming down around them, and they all died. They were crushed under a mountain. I killed them all, and I was like, okay, this is D&D.
That's your first game. Amazing.
That was my first game. Okay.
And that was streamed too, though, right?
That was streamed, yeah.
Yep, yeah. So both of you fell in and you were streaming at the same time. That's pretty cool.
The only thing I've ever streamed offline is Oracles.
I just to clarify, when you say streamed, like there was any sort of production involved. When I did Order of the Word, I mean, it was shit. Like, it was hot fucking garbage, okay?
No.
Yes, it was just like my camera was the whole screen, and like I was trying to get Roll20 on there. It was a mess. like guys, it took there was a road to travel to get to where we are, okay?
Video Ninja on one side of the OBS, and I window captured Roll20 on the other. Like, it was just that. There was no overlay or anything, I don't think, for the first few sessions of my first show.
It took me like 10 sessions probably before I got an overlay.
Yeah, with nowhere
like
near, none of this fucking shit. Like, even this is beyond, this is the most minimum, this is literally the least effort I've ever put into an overlay, I think, for a show. And it looks
it shows
so much better than my first ever thing. Yeah, thanks, PB. Remember when you guys made me run a show for 5 months and then made me do this as
half
well?
a show?
And then made me do this as well.
Yep.
It's all good.
Yep.
Next question, which I went through and picked and added to our overlay myself earlier on while you two were busy fucking around doing other things, is...
It just came in you.
Villains. The question is from PB and Jaylee. I really loved the Ready to Roll episodes back in the day, which is essentially what this is, really. Ready to Roll was our previous podcast like this that we used to release on Patreon. And they've been catching up on non-effort. Some questions I'd like to suggest. How do you craft a good villain? I think we've covered this quite a few times, and we can probably somewhat rapid fire it. I know for me, it's just making them justified. That's it. I don't know what's happened to PB. She's gone.
Okay.
But I got a really good emote now from that.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. So, you know how you were like, it's bothered me. It fucks me up sometimes to think that we've just sent somebody else off on a journey. Well, I remember being sent a show. Somebody was running a show that was inspired by Nocturne, and I watched it. I watched like the first 4 episodes of it, and I was like, I'm trying to find it again. So because I was going to mention it and be like, everyone go look, because like just the feeling of like, you know, watching that, and because in the very beginning, he trapped them all in an elevator and then had the elevator stop working, and like shit got weird. And I was like, oh my God, like it just, there was just this moment of like, I'm watching somebody else GM in my style, and I'm so fucking like, I'm like, I just want to reach out to you and be like, hi, I see you. Like, this is so cool. But then so I'm Googling it, trying to find it. And I've just found these fucking reviews for Nocturne that I've never fucking seen before. And I'm just like reading them like, what is happening here? That's it. That's what happened to me.
It's great. We don't have time for this.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. We don't have time for this.
I'm sorry.
Okay. This is non-effort.
Villains.
Okay.
How do we craft villains?
Yeah. How do you craft a good villain?
Think about what's hot to PB.
the Murgle's approach to villainry.
How many tentacles can I add?
I feel like you put way more effort in than that. I just justify them. For me, I just make them. I just make them in their own head at least, right?
Yep.
give them that reasoning, and then just be like, okay, well, they just think they're right, and then away you go. Unless you want to just do crazy, and if I just want to do crazy, I just think of either like a Kefka type character, who is pretty much just, he's like trying to become God, but it's just basically just a bastard for the sake of it, just poisoning wells and stuff, you know, just like Joker levels of random evil. And then you can just do what you want with that, and which I really, really would like to put a true like chaotic evil villain into something. I don't know if I've done it. Oh God, what now?
Just the fucking emote that gotta be dissociated.
Oh, where have you put it? Upload it. Upload it immediately.
On the screen.
Wow.
Actually dissociated.
I will put it on the screen for the rest of this show. While Whack Up quickly answers how he makes villains too.
Oh, fucking hell.
Okay.
Oh.
So kind of the same idea. It's really important to me that the villains have a reason to do the things that they are doing. So one of my very favorite things, and I learned this from D&D modules, and Brad and I worked on something back in the day where we...
Dude, I still want to... we need to release
still got to
that.
finish it.
That honestly is still in good shape.
Yeah. We created a thing together, and one of the things we talk about is like, hey, we got to have a really good villain. How do we do this? So we brainstormed about it, and that has shaped how I make villains, along with what I really enjoyed when I was reading D&D modules. So I read... so when I was learning how to play 5e, I got 2 modules. I got... the Tyranny of Dragons stuff, and I got Curse of Strahd. And there were 2 glaringly different things with those modules and how they were set up. One was Curse of Strahd explained goals and motivations. And and that was a breakthrough for me. I was like, yeah, if I just know everybody's goals and motivations, that is the foundation for a character. In general, just any character, let alone a villain. So I was just like, how do I do that now in the future? So now whenever I make a villain, it's just, what are their goals? What are their motivations? And then I can fill in their personality from the rest of that. I just use that as a base.
Yeah, same. I think it's the best way to make a villain. Give them a goal, give them a justification, give them, make them real. Just make them real.
Yeah.
It's the same as making what you were saying earlier on, PB, about world building. You put a city down, and then you're like, well, this city is where in the world? It's on a cliff. Why is it on a cliff? You start justifying
why is he doing it?
You give it context, and then you just slowly do that. You build it.
What happened to this person to make them want to go to these lengths? Yeah.
And then they make sense in that way, and then they can become reactive. So as soon as you put them in front of players, and the players trigger those little things that led that villain to get to that point, you can just be like, that's going to set him off. That's going to set them off. That's going to make her do this. I love that.
A good way to start too is to think about like an approach that you might take as a player, or if you think like, oh, what thoughts or feelings might these player characters have, and then think about what is opposite that, and then start to build from there. Kind of like you did in debate. Like, if I believe this, what's the opposite of that? And then go try to figure that out. Or do the opposite of that and go, what can punch holes in my own belief system? What would make me doubt? And then do that. Make that.
Did you ever see Unbreakable?
No, I haven't. I've heard it's amazing.
You should watch it.
You've never seen Wait, the movie?
No.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I haven't.
What the Where were you?
That's so sweet. Whack, what was the name of your first campaign again?
The Order of the Word.
The Man of Letters. All right.
Yeah, that's the gist. I think I think it's a very important thing to have in your campaigns. If you're struggling with that, goals and motivations, just build from that. What is the goal you want them to have? What is the motivation you want them to have? And work from there.
Yeah, there was another question from PB and J Late, but
mod gave me it. Hold on, I'm putting it in the chat right now. It's from Dyson Fire and it's called Awakenings. Please go watch it. Thank you. That's the one.
There was another question from PB and J Late, but it's a good one that I'm going to bump to next week.
Thank you, David.
So the next question is from EN7 Kairos. The EN stands for Erectile Nightmare. EN7 Kairos.
It's the name of my next campaign. Oops.
Oh no.
What is?
It's about building. It's about building.
It's about building.
Yeah.
It's about growing.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
What is for
Just relax.
each of you?
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
From the top. From the top.
This I don't know if this.
Smell it.
I don't
Once
even.
again,
I
from
don't
the
even know
top.
if we can answer this. Not
Okay.
like because it's bad, but just I don't know if I have an answer for this. So I'm curious if you do. What is for each of you the one campaign that got away? The campaign you always wanted to do, but now probably never will.
Indiana Jones.
Maybe the inspiration has dried up. Maybe you don't like that idea anymore. Maybe the idea changed and
Oh,
mutated
I
into
do
a
have an
different
answer for
campaign
this.
entirely.
Yeah, I have an
I've
answer
got
for this.
two.
Okay, go.
You go first. I've been going first.
All right, I'll go first.
Yep.
I don't actually
Yep.
have an answer really. Probably
Okay.
something hard. Sci-fi is really the only answer I've got.
I have an answer. I'll go first because Whack has been going first. Okay. One, I really want to fucking do this season of Ungodly. That's like, there is no season. It's literally just previously on Ungodly. And then it's 30 minutes of a fucking bit where you're just making shit up about what happened on the previous season that no one will ever watch. And it's just, it's just that forever.
The number of... I'm not going to say it. I won't say it because it's a bit of a spoiler.
Oh fuck!
do it.
You know, I love that idea. I think it's great. You know, and I would do 6 episodes of that. I love it. Indiana Jones probably, and that's just because time. And then the other one, I don't want to say, but I do have another one. But maybe I might do that one day. But it's looking like it might not turn out. So, kind of. But yeah, I do have one.
Okay.
Here.
So mine is... I have 2.
Mhm.
The first one is from recent times, sort of ish, a couple years ago. So Gatewalkers happened. That was not my original intent. I did not want to do Gatewalkers originally, but with the D&D OGL shit that happened, I was super angry and
Oh,
still am,
that's-
honestly.
Dude, I remember that. You
I am
threw a tantrum.
I am still upset about
Yep.
the OGL
Mm-hmm.
and what D&D did. I was going to do something completely different than Gatewalkers. My favorite setting in D&D is Dragonlance. And they did a Dragonlance.
You were gonna do dragons? You were gonna do dragons? You were gonna
Dragonlance.
do
Dude, he did that
Dragonlance.
one
Is that like-
shot.
Do you
That
get to like
Dragonlance
ride
one
dragons?
shot.
Do you get to like have? Do you
What-
get to have like a dragon? That
What
is, like, your mini-
campaign was it a part of where you did the two episode flashback one shot in Dragonlance?
That was Blood and Mist.
That was one of my favorite flash sideways flashback type things
Mhm.
we've ever done. But you made the Dragonlance setting so enchanting that I've always wanted this
It's
campaign.
fucked up, man.
This campaign that you are
How much
probably about to describe.
to run Brad and I in Dragonlance?
This is it. Tell us what you're doing for us.
I have no idea.
Don't do this on the stream. We
Okay,
have to
I'm
make
sorry,
a
I'm
new
sorry, I'm
rule
so sorry,
that we
I'm so
don't
sorry,
do
I'm so
this to
sorry,
each
I'm so
other
sorry,
on
I'm
fucking
sorry.
stream anymore. This is the worst thing ever. Be like, how much? And then someone's like, here's 45 grand. And you're like,
So-
fuck, I wanted 50.
So here's the thing. Dragonlance, if you don't know anything about Dragonlance, it's one of the craziest properties that has existed in the D&D sphere, okay?
Mhm.
Because D&D has had all this crazy journey through the years of different companies that have owned Wizards of the Coast, right? And TSR and all kinds of crazy shit's happened. the two people that wrote Dragonlance, because they did a series of books as well. I can't remember their names. I'm sorry. I'm so brain dead. But they released this.
He remembers.
They've had
He's
all
just
these
covering for his previous
Margaret
memory
Weiss and
lapse.
Tracy Hickman. Thank you. So they've had this crazy history of like legal battles with D&D. That's why you will see some shit in D&D that is in like present settings that's like really odd and doesn't feel like it belongs there, because like it's legal battles, like certain things are allowed and they had to phrase things a certain way. So there was all kinds of trouble with it, and they released this Dragonlance edition for 5e. They did a Dragonlance thing, and as far as I know, there's still legal battles over this. So they have this Dragonlance thing. It's half board game and half D&D. Like, they actually have a board game component that's not just miniatures. There's a war element that is happening.
Oh God,
in it.
That's so fucking. I so badly want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
A Suikoden type thing.
I know.
So I didn't even know how I was going to do it. I mean, there was going to be a chunk of time that I was going to have to figure that out. But that was the original plan before Gatewalkers and the OGL stuff happened. So that's my big one. That was the big one. I love Dragonlance. I don't know if I'll ever get to do it the right way, or what. But that was the big one. And another one that I've run in the past that I didn't really know what I was doing back then, and like it just wasn't what I wanted to do with it. I didn't like the system very much. Was Dresden Files. So I ran a show. It was called Hexed.
Oh hell yeah! What?
That I did, but again, it wasn't. I didn't really do what I wanted to do with it. I didn't know what I was doing with the system. The system got away from me. It was the Fate. It was based on Fate Core, and I didn't really understand the system that well, and the players didn't understand the system. I remember Peachy and I were just looking through the rules, and we were trying to find one word for like 45 minutes and get an explanation of what this one fucking word meant, and we couldn't figure it out. And I was just like, are we just dumb? Like, are we just stupid? Like, what is the issue here? Because I've read a bunch of systems by this point, and I was struggling so bad with it. It was just shift. What is a shift? Shift. That was the word.
I can explain that for you.
Yeah, no, don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's better when you don't, I think.
Okay.
So that was
like, what the hell just happened?
I think I get the gist of it now, but it was still super confusing back then. So yeah.
All right, there you go. Yeah, again, I don't really have one because I don't think any of them have gotten away from me. I just haven't done them yet. I want to do Dark Sun. I want to do, like I said before, Delta Green or something along those lines, and I want to do like Call of Cthulhu or something cosmic horror, something like that. But I wouldn't say they've gotten away from me. I just would like to do them.
There was one that looked. I think it's
Claymore. Is it called Claymore? Or was
Claymore is the anime.
No, it's not called Claymore. God, what is it called?
Oh, one that looked cool to me was Invisible Sun.
It's just called a sword. What is that system called?
Oh, Zweihander.
Zweihander is the other one that I looked at that years ago. I wanted to do that as well. It's very Dark Sunny.
I had the same reaction to Dark Sun. I was like, what? I didn't know that about you.
I like the idea of just a setting where there is no healing magic, and it's just brutal. And just I've always wanted to do Dark Sun, but like very almost like Conan the Barbarian-y, approach it a bit like that. And just brutal. Just really, I want to run like a legitimately brutal campaign. I just think that like I have two problems. One is that I think I'm too nice as a GM. Like I can't handle being too brutal to my players because I'm like, oh, they're gonna hate me and they're gonna hate the campaign. They're gonna get bored and sick of it. And I really have to get over that sometimes. And two, because how many times I've killed characters where I'm like, the player is never going to talk to me again.
Yeah.
And I can't deal with that level of conflict. You know, like I can shit talk and roast and stuff all day, but like actual real conflict, I'm like, I don't actually like it at all. So I'm just way too nice, I think, a lot of the time as a GM, which is really hilarious because I'm such a bastard in many other ways. Mostly theatrical characters that I play on stream and such. But I would like to do like a Dark Sun, but I also feel like it's like one of those, it's almost like tropey in D&D to have like it's so brutal and you have to, everything's really difficult and stuff. And I feel like it's very done to death in a way. And I forgot what else I was going to say. That's it, I guess.
Next topic.
Next topic. So this we'll get to the don't die deets. I forget what we had to do. We had to answer a question again. But the first part of this is a pretty quick question, I think. It's just a fun one from Kipling that says, you're teleported into the world of your most played game with, I don't know how we even figured that one out, with only
Steam hours.
With only the
no question.
Oh no!
You're in Red
Getting
Dead.
RDM'd.
I mean, you're going
5
straight
minutes.
to Wild RP. It's possible I would as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
You're teleported
It's
into the
either
world.
that or No Man's Sky. Anyway,
You
sorry.
surely have more hours. I have a lot of hours. Well, let me finish the question and then we can discuss
Yep.
it. You're teleported into the world of your most played game with. This is ADHD, right? Where you fill the rest of the question. You don't need to hear it. You know the question
You're
and
like,
you're already
"Oh,
answering
okay.
it. But we have to do it for the rest of the people who don't have our brains to do this annoying
How
thing.
do I go sort by play hours? I can do that, right?
I don't know if you can.
You can. You look on your profile. Just look on your profile.
Yeah, okay.
With only the items you currently have within reach of you is key.
Jesus.
Where have you ended
Okay.
up and what are your chances of survival?
Okay.
In terms of, are we just doing this by Steam? Because I don't even use
Yeah.
Steam for a lot of my games. I think my most hours in games are probably on like PS3.
Marvel Snap.
Marvel Snap. I've got a good amount of hours in Marvel Snap and Hearthstone.
I'm pretty sure my
shit
Steam
like that.
answer is correct.
Yep, mine too.
I'm pretty sure.
I am teleported into the world of Wild RP, and I am immediately RDM'd,
Shocker.
burned at the stake because the only thing I really have is a fucking phone. And I'd probably attack someone
you're
if they
dead.
said they had a headache, and then I'd get murdered. And it'd be the
Dude,
end.
how crazy would it be? You teleport into what you just look around and you're like, oh, I'm just in like what is that 1892 or something, and you look around, you're like, this is crazy. But
1904.
someone walks up and just go with an eye patch and goes,
Yep.
hey fella, I got a headache, and then just vanishes.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I'm not in 1901. I'm
in a game.
having a psychosis moment.
Yeah. I'm having a psychosis. I'm gonna trip now and fucking in cap.
Yeah. What's yours then, Wack?
So I have 3 answers.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure it's
Wait, can I
World of-
guess?
Jesus.
Oh, sorry. Ooh,
I already
sorry.
said half of it.
Yep, you did. Yep, that's fine. That's not what I was.
What's
gonna
your
guess
other
anyway.
guess?
Like a Civ builder game.
No.
Something like that. No. Okay.
Nope. Not even close.
All right. Rimworld.
First, I'm gonna say it's
I'm gonna
World of
keep going.
Warcraft, probably. So I don't remember what my playtime was in World of Warcraft, but I played the fuck out of that game. I
Yeah.
was a guild leader. I did a lot of stuff, but it might not be because I can see my Steam hours for Dota 2, and it's over 1,000.
Oh wow.
So
I
I
got a lot
don't
in League.
really remember. I don't remember what it
How
was
long
in
would
World
you
of Warcraft,
last?
but it's probably close.
In the world.
Dota 2 world, I
Mhm,
probably would die right away. I don't imagine I would
Top lane
live very
dead.
long. Yeah. I mean, I can't even fucking live in the game. You know, I can't fucking play it and survive. I've got 1,000 hours in Dota. I'm fucking horrible at it.
My Steam answer,
And
I,
then
d-
the other
I don't
one-
think is.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The other one that I really have no idea, StarCraft 2. StarCraft 2,
Mm.
World of Warcraft, or Dota 2. My guess is they're probably all pretty close. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. It'd be brutal. It'd be horrible. I know that I have more hours in Red Dead Wild RP than I do in PUBG. But PUBG is my most Steam hours, I think, of any game. But I would put money on the fact that I have more hours in Call of Duty, because it's just all I played for years.
Yeah.
And then if you go back, I wonder how many hours.
I wonder in Final Fantasy I have.
I've probably got quite a lot in
Final Fantasy
7 and 8.
I do for sure.
Because I'd only had those games as a kid, so I just played them over and over again, and they were hundreds of hours. But I mean, if we're just doing Steam, it's PUBG. So I just get landed into. I just get put. I think I have a better chance in that than you guys have in Wild RP and in Dota, because everyone just lands without weapons and you pick them up.
Yeah.
I would actually be on level footing with the other people there.
You don't have aim assist in real life, Brad.
You don't have it in PUBG.
This is the thing. If I had to fight a fucking bear, I'd be fine.
Dude, I almost wrote.
Fine. If it was a panther, the panther would kill me.
Listen.
But if it was a fucking bear, I'd be fine.
What I would like to say two things in my defense. One, when I was putting these on the overlay, I almost wrote stoner question and just left it at that, because this is so like you're smoking and it's fucking 2 a.m. the question from Kipling.
He was
two,
told when he asked it.
I didn't say that I would like survive and win. I just said I would stand a better chance than you two in your settings. I think in Wild RP you wouldn't last 5 minutes because you'd backchat a man.
I could.
Snake. Death by snake.
And you'd be dead. In 1901. And you're not going to last in Dota. I don't know any Dota characters, but the moment one of them comes up against you, you've been slaughtered. What are you going to do? Show me a mobile phone? I would actually stand a chance. At least I'd land on the ground and I'd find a Mosin Nagant or something and I'd figure it out. I'd have a gun or whatever. So I'm not saying I would win. I'm just saying there is
all 3 of my games, I'm dead.
I have a 1 in 100 chance, just like I did in my first ever game of PUBG, of getting a chicken dinner. But yeah, I think I'd probably also end up in Wild RP as well, and I also probably would not last very long. Just ask someone about their horse. All right. Now we need to let's summon PB. Everyone in the chat room, type PB come back. PB come back. We have to summon her.
Tell the story. No, you're telling the story. You and Whack.
Of what?
What story?
No, it's not the story. It's not the. We're not on the story yet. This is why we've got 14 minutes.
We got don't die deets.
Yeah, there's a question that we have to answer. You have to answer truthfully.
That's right. I remember now.
Okay, so with Don't Die, Pumpkinberry.
Yes.
Roughly how long do you estimate it took you to create the world for this homebrew campaign to where you feel comfortable playing in it? Was the question.
0 hours.
Do we want to elaborate on that anymore?
It's better if you don't.
Okay. Because I think that is such a weird selling point for this upcoming show.
Yep. I agree.
All right.
Theory craft in the Discord if you want.
I think there's
Lord.
a couple of clues in this stream that actually reveal what we are talking about then. All right, let's do Wax version of PB's ear story.
Yep.
And then I'll tell you mine.
You gotta play the ungodly music though.
And then we get the real story, and then we'll close out the stream.
Okay.
Go Whack. GM us through the story.
My guess is this is related to PB. I think you said already this was related to your sister. So you were probably at that fucking abandoned psychiatric hospital shit that you were hanging out in or whatever. Yeah, I imagine you were probably in some building that you shouldn't have been in, rummaging through garbage and filth, covered in disgusting leftover syringes filled with heroin, and you just You just, were scrounging this psychiatric hospital, imagining yourself as a doctor there.
On heroin.
Yeah.
Ironically, dangerously close to my childhood. This entire story.
And then you were playing out some kind of scene or something with your sister, and you're like, get back in that straitjacket. If you don't get back into that straitjacket, I'm gonna pump you so full of drugs. And somebody overheard you, like a security guard or something, or a concerned parent.
I love this story.
And
So
they
close.
burst onto the scene, and they're like, "What the hell's going on?" And that's at that point you didn't want to break character, so you said, "You get into a straitjacket too. I'm tired of your bullshit." And you're like 5 years old, and screaming at this adult, and
perfect.
And they're like, "What are you talking about, you crazy child? Where are your parents? Why are you in here? This place is scheduled for demolition."
Your guess is as good as mine.
And you're like, "You shut the fuck up." And then that's when you that's when your sister was like, "Yeah, you shut up." And then they talk back to your sister, and as soon as they set their attention on your sister, that's when you leapt into action, grabbing
like
them
a spider.
Just like we see this,
like
you jump 20 feet up into the air, you leap upon their shoulders, and
it's when I discovered I had superpowers.
Just
tore the ear right off.
That was mine.
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
For a second there, I thought you were going to be like, you're scrounging around and you just find an ear.
No, that's boring.
That happened to me once with a finger in a
All
can.
right, well, now we've got next week's top story.
Why do you keep finding body parts?
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
What the fuck?
I found that with my cousin who died.
On the day that you were making characters for Star Wars.
I was joking when I came up with my story, right? I was joking. If I'm actually close, I'm going to be...
You're definitely close. There is no way that it is for sure bulldog defense of sister.
Go on, Brad. It's your turn to describe my ear story.
All right. PB, at the age of 6 years old, finds a dark egg.
Yep.
There is a strange ambience to the dark egg. There is something...
Does it have a mouth and a nose on it?
It's my favorite song from non-canon.
There is something odd about this thing. She picks it up, she's drawn to it. As her hands touch it, it turns red. A little face appears on this thing. Looking up at the sky, the sun turns black, the sky turns red. 4 demons appear and imbue Pumpkinberry with a demonic energy.
Yeah.
Which I think we've only seen 2 or 3 times in our history.
Yeah.
And that's definitely during PB's reascension to Earth and a sort of vaguely human form, he cut someone's ear off.
It's pretty close
to
reality. Yep. Okay. In reality, okay, you have to, I'm going to try to justify this a little bit, okay? In no way is it acceptable. I understand that, okay?
Oh, fuck.
No way was this acceptable at all.
Dude, he's going to cancel herself.
Yeah, probably. However, to put it in perspective,
Leah's going to be like, this was my Tuesday.
Yeah. To put it in perspective, my sister and I had just been uprooted from Japan. Our parents were trying to do the best that they could, and they didn't tell us ahead of time. So it was like we just came home one day and shit was packed, and it was like the next day we left and we were gone. Okay, so that happened. And then I'm in fucking Michigan. I'm seeing snow for the first time. But anyway, we're trying to adjust. My parents are going through a horrific divorce. They're fighting over us.
Do I need the other music back?
Listen,
because I feel like, are you sure?
Keep it. The only way I'm getting through the story is if you fucking play this.
Because I mean, I could put on. I could put on the other music again because this is pretty. I mean, is this what you need? What do you need? This one?
No. Yep. Thank you. Yep. Anyway, listen. I'm not proud. I'm not proud of this moment. Okay. But
You do still have it as a trophy, though.
No. God, no. It didn't come
He
off.
bronzed it.
It was just his earlobe. Jesus Christ. Listen. Okay.
It's bronzed. It's hanging.
Some motherfucking bully would not let my sister play soccer, and he called her a slur, and I beat the shit out of him, and he never bothered her again.
And he lost an earlobe?
I tore his earlobe apart from his fucking face. Yeah.
Jesus. How do you even do that?
I don't know, but they put me in latchkey instead of giving me therapy. So like,
what's latchkey?
It's like.
What is that?
It's like where you go after school if your parents don't pick you up. It's just, it's just like
not latchkey. Latchkey kids are kids that are they're just they don't have brothers or sisters. But apparently the place where PB lived, latchkey was another thing.
Well, wait. No. Wait. Back up. Latchkey kids are the kids who couldn't go home because they're too young to go home by themselves. And so there was an after school program for the kids who.
Oh, boy.
Am I learning something horrible right now?
Guys, thank you for watching Non-Effort.
My parents were like, you gotta go to latchkey, kiddo.
Another great episode of Non-Effort. Thank you so much for the
left home alone after school or
questions.
when their parents are at work. I was a latchkey kid.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
I just went home. Or I didn't.
Yeah, I tried that. And then.
I would have escaped.
Yep. There's a whole other story there. We're not going to get into it.
You should have been brought up in Victorian England with me. Skittering up of chimneys and escaping.
Dude, we would be dead if we grew up together.
Oh, yeah, there's no way.
We would be dead.
Yeah,
You'd have been like, hey, PB, try this fucking heroin. And
or we'd be like world-renowned scientists with like Nobel Prizes or something. You know? Because we would have balanced each other's bullshit out. And we would have become perfect beings, like the fucking living tribunal.
Or we went to Hollywood and tried to do our dream, and then it failed, and then we were like, "Fuck this!" And now we just are.
Either way, I'm a drug addict.
Something.
So.
Yep.
So now you are too.
Yep.
You would have bit your dad's ear off.
I would have, dude. I would have been like, "Get the fuck off, Brad!" And I would have just bit the fucker's ear off.
There would have been no one.
My story, but your dad would have been.
There would have been no one within a mile of me that had an earlobe. Everyone had just been lobeless. Oh wow, guys! Thank you so much. I'm gonna roll the credits.
Thank you so much.
Again, these are the credits from non-canon. I will never change it.
Yeah, never change them. It's so good.
obviously
Also, please understand that I know that what I did was wrong and that there's no excuse and there's shit.
How
it's
old
not
were you?
Like 10.
No one cares. No one gives a
Okay.
shit about what you do when you're 10.
I was a disturbed young child, okay?
No one cares unless you're like proper dextering, you know, just like killing animals.
He called her.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's bad.
I'm 38 and I would have kicked that 10-year-old
like,
now.
no, don't do this to us.
I fully agree with de-lobing bullies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, it's
Find
the
your
only thing
nearest
that she
bully,
loved.
everyone.
She was
as a
really
final
good at playing
thought,
soccer too.
and remove an earlobe from a
She
local
came
bully.
over to me crying. Oh my god.
All right.
I was like, who did this? I will kill him.
Well, you tried. You tried.
Yeah, I did.
Feral. A feral child. Lucky this music is playing.
Yeah, that's the only way that makes the story even
It's the only
acceptable.
way we go.
Could you
Luckily,
imagine
the
if you played
VOD will be
scary
deleted
one?
forever.
Yeah, you've got 60 days to hear this story, and then we're never talking about it again.
Everyone, please
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Thank you for people who were very generous with their tips tonight.
Thank you, Bear.
Fuck everybody else.
Fuck everybody else. Thank you for watching our little shows and supporting our shows every week. This show obviously goes towards funding all of the other shows, including the upcoming Phenomena, the Spectacular, the top,
Are you gonna play it?
it will be the #1 best show ever made.
It absolutely, I totally agree with that right now. And you should play the
Pumpkinberry,
trailer
with the
right now.
currently 0
before I rip
hours
your earlobe off.
homebrew, the 0 hours
Play the trailer.
homebrew setting
trailer.
creation.
Play the
It
trailer.
is Don't Die. That is not next week. It's in 2 weeks. Next week we have our final episode of non-effort. For the time being, 0 hour prep. The final episode of non-effort next week, the Murgles special, with all questions submitted by Murgles. They could be anything, guys. And Murgles is fucking weird. So, thank you
How long
again.
did it take her to build the campaign? I don't know. Ask me in 2 weeks when we start
Come back in 2 weeks for this show.